Okay, we're going to go live now. I think we're on time. Okay, let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to our second live streamed Q&A with our 3 CATS students. We have more than 3 students, obviously. These are just a selection of them. I hope you've enjoyed the open day so far and you've attended various department and college sessions. This is basically a chance for you guys to all ask questions to our current students, and you can do that by typing a question in Slido, which is the platform that we're using, and you'll find that on the CATS page. I'm down here in the corner because of the way that my technical ability is for live streaming, so I'm afraid that you'll have me very small in the corner, but I will be here nonetheless. We're going to get started with asking our student ambassadors to introduce ourselves. So Ollie's first on my screen, so I'll let you go first.
Hi everyone, I'm Ollie. I'm a second year, end of my second year now, studying biology at St Catherine's.
And then we've got Stuart.
Hi, I'm Stuart. I'm in the second year of an engineering degree, also at St Catherine's.
And Maya.
Hi, I'm Maya, and I just finished my third year doing Spanish and linguistics at CATS.
Great, thank you everyone. So our first question, you might have to hark your mind back to the interviews. Somebody's asked, how did you find your interviews? Who'd like to take this one?
Yes, so I'm happy to take it. So my interviews I actually found were really enjoyable. Part of that was because we were down here and I got to be in CATS for a bit and meet lots of people, but I recognised that some people, especially due to the current situation, have been having their interviews online. But actually, I enjoyed the interview itself with the academics for quite a few different reasons. It was a chance to chat about something that I'm passionate about with someone who's a world expert in the field, to really just have an in-depth think about a topic that they gave me, and some stuff that wasn't super familiar, but that I had the knowledge to understand it. Yeah, in terms of the academic content, I quite enjoyed it. I tried to engage with it as much as I could. My tutors put me at ease. It was quite nerve-wracking. Naturally, it's quite a high-stakes environment, and so I think that can be sometimes quite difficult to handle. But just I kept calming myself down and trying to get the most out of the experience, and in the end, it was really positive.
Great, thanks Ollie. I think one thing, as Ollie said, is that last year the interviews were online and they will be again this year, which is kind of different to the way it's been done in the past, where people have come to Oxford. In future years, if you're watching this and thinking of applying in maybe 2 or 3 years' time, then the decisions on that are yet to be made. If anybody else has got anything to add on interviews, feel free, otherwise we'll move on to the next question.
I was just going to say, despite all the media stuff that you might see all the stuff in the media you might see about the Oxbridge interview process, it's really not like that. That's quite sensationalised. The point of the interviews is that these tutors want to see how you think, and you're allowed to get things wrong in your interview. Then they'll just guide you, they're like, oh, well, that's not quite correct. If I tell you this is what A is, can you guide me towards what B is? And ultimately, they just kind of want to see if they can teach you for the next 3-4 years. So it's really not as a strenuous or kind of scary as it sometimes seems to be reported.
The next question we've got is asking about the food. What is the food like at CATS?
I would like to say that the food is actually really good. I know for first year I spent, I think every meal, bar maybe 1 or 2, I went to the SCAF and Hall, which are the 2 food options we have at CATS. So you have a sort of cafeteria style meal that you can pay for, or you can also have a sit down dinner where they bring it to your table and things, and that's on weeknights, and the cafeteria meal is for every lunch and dinner apart from Sunday dinner, and it was really good, and they're offering it during the COVID as well, with a slightly modified way of getting it, but I remember spending a lot of time in the hall eating food with my friends, and it was a good food, quite cheap, very good food here.
Would anyone like to explain a little bit about the options to self-cater as well?
Yeah, so cats, each floor in the buildings that you're in, we call them staircases, have a kitchenette, and in each kitchenette there's a stovetop, a microwave, a kettle, and a toaster. So pretty much everything apart from an oven, but that actually doesn't limit you that much at all. So you can self-cater whenever you want. I think one of the good things as well about cats is that it's a pay-as-you-go food system for halls, so it's not like you've paid like a lump sum at the beginning of the academic year like it is with other places, and then if you don't eat there you feel like you're losing money. So yeah, self-catering is really good. And yeah, just the system that the hall works through is really good as well, and there's a lot of different they cater really well to every dietary requirement that you could think.
Great, thanks. The next question is about clubs and societies. So would anyone like to talk us through what type of stuff we have at the college level and also like university level stuff?
Yeah, so clubs and societies here at Oxford in general, we have just about anything and everything you could imagine. And it's just worth saying now that if you did come here and you saw that there wasn't a society that you wanted there to be, students run all the societies, so you could be the person to set that up. And there's often people there that want to give you money to do these things and to have a great extracurricular experience. So in terms of in college, we have lots of different sports societies, music societies, drama, and then other more specific ones. So sports, I'd see CATS actually is quite a sporty college. We have 3 men's football teams and a women's team, and we also have several rowing teams. Rowing's quite big in Oxford, and CATS is quite a big college for rowing. But like, if it's not your thing, then that's completely fine too. And also rugby, hockey, basketball, etc. So, and then aside from sports, there's lots of things you can get involved in to do with performance and art, and we have dedicated societies for those. And then, like I say, some of the more specific societies, so one of our really popular societies here at CATS is Potsock, which is our gardening society. They run every Sunday, and people go and they pot some plants and they help them grow and learn tips on gardening and that sort of thing, and it's quite a nice community environment. And then there are also societies at the university level. So these again range from sports and all sorts of extracurricular activities, different interests, quiz society, and as well there are also societies of people of different faiths and nationalities to celebrate their culture. And so that's really exciting, and it's an opportunity for you to meet people that are like-minded. In terms of the sports, the university level sport is typically for people who are quite serious about a particular sport and wanting to dedicate a lot of time and effort. And so we have something called Blues, which maybe Stuart knows a little bit more about than me. And so he might be able to touch on that there.
Yeah, so the sports setup in the uni is actually very good. We've got the Iffley Road Centre, which is a very famous sports centre, and it's very well equipped for most sports that you could be doing at the uni-wide sort of level. The teams are very good. They're very serious. You can also go along to most of the teams there's usually a sort of casual team that you can join to try a sport or, have a good time with your friends at it. But if you want to be a high-level athlete, there's certainly avenues to do that.
The next question we've got is about accommodation. What's it like and how is it allocated?
Well, I can answer that one again. I'm in one of the college rooms. In first year, you're basically allocated one of the rooms in Old Quad, which is the main part of the college with the library and the quad and things in it. You don't really get much of a choice in first year. You get the room that you're assigned. There's staircases full of only freshers, and the staircase shared between freshers and third years. And so once you finish first year, you get a group of 4, and you write your name down on the ballot for the next year, and then they assign you a random place in the ballot, and then according to that place, you get to choose your room for the second year. And in second year, most of the rooms are in the new quad area, which is where I am. Which the rooms are a little bit bigger. The bed's a little bit bigger. There's an ensuite bathroom, which you don't have in first year. The second year rooms are a little bit better. But and then in third year, you go back to old quad.
I think it's just worth adding on to that as well. The costs of the random allocations of the rooms in the first year, because they don't differ too much in quality, most people get a similar experience of getting a slightly better room in second year, and then again a bit more choice in third year than you had in first year. Actually, there's a flat rate across all the rooms. It's currently around £22 per night. It does fluctuate a little bit year on year. So yeah, that's a bit different to the tiered system that you might have seen at other colleges or other universities.
And one thing I'd add to that is that you only actually pay for the nights that you're actually in residence. So as opposed to paying for 45 weeks of the whole year or something, you actually only end up paying for the nights you're here, which saves several hundred, if not thousands of pounds over the course of a year. Right, I've got a question asking, I heard there's a college dog named Catherine, are you allowed to play with her?
Yes, yes, you certainly are, and it is encouraged. So over this last year, I've had a role in our student council here, which we call the JCR committee, the Junior Common Room Committee, to oversee welfare. And one of the things that we've done to promote welfare in college is arrange people to walk Catherine, the dog. She's owned by our master. And you can go and typically book to walk her around the college and around the uni, and have a bit of time playing with her in the master's garden as well. So, yeah.
She's got her own Instagram account, at Catherine the College Dog, which I'm pretty sure has more followers than the actual college Instagram account, which is at St Cat's Oxford, and you should follow that too. What kind of support systems are available at college? I'm going to go back to Ollie on this. As our resident welfare person in the chat. Yeah.
So there is a really wide array of support systems here in college, and the university level as well. And there are all sorts of people at different levels for different issues, welfare issues that you might be having to deal with while you're here. So starting sort of at the bottom of the hierarchy, if you like, at the student level, we have our welfare reps and our peer supporters. These are students that receive training from the university counselling service on how to be an active listener, and how to help talk through people's problems and direct you to further support should you want it. And then we also have our junior deans. So junior deans are like standby welfare officers. They're typically graduate students that live in college, and they are sort of first responders to any imminent welfare issues, and are also available for chats out of office hours. So they're a really good source as well, and they've got lots of experience between them. Above them we have our dean. So the dean is the member of staff, an academic that oversees welfare for the college, and again you can get in touch with them about any specific welfare concerns, and they can support you through that. As well, we have our college counsellor, Susie, who's lovely. You can book an appointment with her to talk through things. She's professionally trained as a counsellor, and again, as with all the other services, including the peer supporters and welfare reps, it's all confidential. So you go to them and you can talk about something in confidence. And then we also have our college nurse and college doctors who you can get in touch with to support you with your physical, mental, sexual health. So those are the sort of college-related support systems. And beyond that, at the university level, there's also a university counselling service. If you felt more comfortable going to someone who's not directly attached to college, or we've also got other services like the Disability Advisory Service, and they can help support you through other specific issues. So yeah, and our job as welfare reps is to give you the information that you need to be able to contact these people. So if you're ever unsure of who to go to, then you know that there's someone you can ask and be redirected if necessary.
Thanks, Ollie. So yeah, a really comprehensive system on both the college and university levels there. The next question is asking what the religious and ethnic diversity is like at CATS, and I guess more generally the university as a whole. If anybody would like to take that one.
I can talk a little bit about it. Can you just read out the thing again, Stefan? The whole question.
What is the religious / ethnic diversity like at St Catherine's College?
I can't speak. Stefan will probably have the stats more than I do in terms of like actually what is there and what isn't there. But in terms of just from a student perspective, I would say it's fairly diverse at a college level. I think something that's really good about Oxford as a university is the societies, as I think it was Ollie or Stuart saying earlier. So there's a freshers fair at the beginning of your first term here throughout the whole university, and there was, from my memory, there was a whole room dedicated to all the different societies that for religious groups and ethnic minority groups. So for example, there's ACS, Afro-Caribbean Society, and then there's HumSoc, which is the Hindu Society. I was part of the Mixed Heritage Society in my first year, which I really enjoyed, and you get to meet a lot of not like-minded, but people from the same backgrounds as you, and they hold a variety of events throughout the year. So I think CATS is fairly good in terms of diversity, but my point being is that there are definite like kind of circles within, like student circles within the university where you can practice your faith or find people from your same ethnic background if you would so like to.
On the statistics itself, if you just Google admissions report Oxford, the university publishes a report every year on basically where the students come from in terms of background, ethnic, school background, all of that. It's all available. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, I'm afraid. Somebody asks, what are the best and worst things about CATS? This is always a good question. If we get a quick one-liner best and worst from each of you. So we'll start with Ollie. Put you on the spot. Sorry about that.
Oh, do you want both? Okay. So I think the best one I would go sort of like, I don't know, it's very much cliche, but the people and the sort of the community sort of spirit between them, and specifically how friendly they are. And then worst, oh my goodness, and this isn't me saying there's nothing bad about it, like everything's a mixture of good and bad things. I guess maybe that we're only here for 8 weeks a term. I could do with the workload being a bit more spread out and just being able to be here for a bit longer. Maybe that's a bit of a cop-out answer, but yeah.
What about you, Stuart?
The best things, got to be the community, or at least like the JCR spirit. Like the actual building of the JCR is really good, and the bar and everything. The worst thing is the fact that we can see Merton and Mansfield's grounds, and they're right there, and we can't use them. Our grounds are about 15 minutes walk away, but we can see the sports grounds from the rooms. You can see them, but you're not allowed to use them.
I tell you what, when you're a multi-millionaire, when you're older, you can buy them back off Merton and donate them to CATS. How about that?
I might just do that if I'm ever rich enough.
What about you, Maya?
I'd say the best thing is like the community or like social life, even like throughout COVID, like there's been a really great effort to try and keep everyone together as a community, whether that's social distance events in college or beforehand, like virtually. I'd say the worst thing, a bit of a cop-out. It's the Wi-Fi, but they're changing it over the summer. It's just been a bit annoying because obviously everyone's online all the time now in college, and that's been a bit a lot for it to handle, but it's changing over the summer, so that's it really. Yeah.
Also, I think because there's a lot of concrete, it's quite difficult for the Wi-Fi to go through the concrete, but hopefully that will be sorted the next year. This one's for Ollie. What does the biology department at CATS specialise in? And maybe if you could expand that and talk about how like general subjects are taught at both the department and the college.
Yeah. So you do get in college teaching, and these are typically arranged by your tutorials. Biology is quite a special subject because, unlike a lot of other subjects, your tutorials are only strictly college based in your first year, and then you can have tutorials with whoever you want to for your next for the rest of your degree. And just to quickly say what tutorials are, they're just like a quick 1 hour small group teaching session, usually one tutor to 2 or 3 students. They're what you'll typically write an essay for beforehand. So those are typically college based in your first year, and then more general after that. Whereas lectures and labs, field courses, computer sessions, all of those other things to do with your course are at the university level. So the fact that CATS has particular tutors assigned to it doesn't affect any of that. Now, the CATS tutors in particular, which you know, because of your first year and because you're in college, like you have a bit more contact with, we have 3 main tutors, and we have a really broad span of biology. So one of our tutors, Letitia, she's a molecular biologist. She works with neurodegenerative diseases. She does lots of cool research, and definitely on the molecular side. And then we also have Adrian. He's an immunologist, and works a lot on parasites and that kind of thing. And then we also have Tom, who is an evolutionary biologist and looks at behavior and sexual selection. So really spanning a lot of biology there, which is really handy. And because of that, typically CATS biologists usually do very, very well in their academic studies. So that's what we specialize in that way. But if you're interested in something else, you are not stopped getting tutorials or any lectures or anything like that at all with other tutors from other colleges. So I wouldn't recommend that. That's a big factor to consider when you're choosing a college for biology.
Got a question asking what is the outdoor space like at the college, and is it close to the parks and the river?
Yeah, CATS. The reason I chose CATS, I didn't come to an open day at all. I chose it online, so that's because I'm lazy. It wasn't because of COVID or anything like that. But I actually chose it because online it said that CATS was a really, really green space, like close to the meadows. So yeah, it's about a 7-minute walk out of the centre of the town, which people sometimes say, oh, it's so far. It's really not. And I think it's nicer to be out of the centre of town. So this means that you're closer to the river, you're closer to, as Stuart was saying, we've got the Merton playing fields on one side, and then that backs into the university parks. So yeah, it's got a lot of green space. And then even within the college grounds, just walking around, there's lots of little hidden nooks and crannies of green spaces, and at the back we have a very nice amphitheatre where outdoor events are held. And so yeah, a lot of space inside the college, outdoors, and beyond.
And for the record, I'm just sat in my college room now, and I can literally see the River Cherwell there. So yes, it's quite close. It's about 10 meters away from me.
And I guess kind of on that, on the college physical space, somebody asks, is it much more modern than other colleges? I think the answer is resoundingly yes, both physically, but I guess also that's kind of in the general atmosphere and vibe of the place as well. I don't know if anybody wants to. I can see people nodding. That's good.
I just think, as Stuart mentioned earlier when we were talking about like what he likes about CATS, like because CATS was built later, they know what kind of works really well for like a college environment. So like our bar, JCR, games and our social areas are all next to each other and flow into another. At other colleges, they're in random allocated places from centuries ago. So it just works really, really well for like a healthy student environment. Yeah, it is really modern, and that's why I really like it. And it's all like, yeah, it's good, yeah.
Somebody's asked, the rooms in bands, are they all the same price? So Ollie earlier in the live stream talked a little bit about the accommodation, or was it Stuart? I can't remember. But basically, it's a flat rate. Everybody pays the same. The rooms are all pretty similar. So actually, it's very equal and egalitarian. I think, just to answer your question quickly. Somebody's asked, are you allowed to rent somewhere outside the college in 1 year? Does anyone have any friends that live out, for example?
Yeah, I was going to say the good thing about CATS is that you are guaranteed 3 years of accommodation for your degree.
Technically not guaranteed, but I think that something over 90% of our students do live in for 3 years of their degree.
Okay, sorry. I was under the impression that you can have 3 years of accommodation if you would so like, but Stefan can correct me on that. But majority of people take it up. However, if you wanted to, there are people living out at the moment who are in my year, and so it's possible to do it. And then if you're doing a 4-year degree, like a STEM degree or medicine, then after your 3 years in college, you then live out, but you live with other friends.
And the good thing about Oxford is that it's quite a compact city, so even people who do live out of college end up living a 10-15 minute cycle ride away, or some even 10-15 minute walk. So it's very close together like that. What does a typical week look like? Can we have a pre-COVID quick run through of what a typical week? I think we have Stuart and Maya, who are the most two different types of, one STEM and one more humanities based.
Yeah, sure. So I do engineering, and in first year when there was no COVID going on or anything else, I would have lectures. I'd have 2 lectures a day, either at 9 a.m. until 11, so 2 hours, or like 11 until 1, so 2 hours. That was every day for me, but for some people it's not. And then we'd have a 5-hour lab every Wednesday, but it might not be in the same day. So we'd have about 15 hours of lectures and labs together. So it was only a 5-day week, obviously. And then also we'd have 2 tutorials in a week. So from the lectures, we'd have to do a problem sheet. So the lecturer would give us what they expected us to be able to do by the end of the lecture course, and you'd have to do that, and then give it to your tutors, and then discuss it with your tutors in an hour at some point during the week. But yeah, so that's what a typical week looked like. The rest of the time, I only worked sort of 9 to 5 most days. Sometimes a little bit longer. Sometimes I worked on Saturdays and Sundays. Usually I took Sunday off. But yeah, I never really went too far past that sort of rigid deadline. But the rest of the time, yeah, independent studies, doing the problem sheets was most of my time.
And then on my side, I think languages is a bit different because you do a lot of like practical stuff in terms of like actually like doing oral lessons and grammar and that sort of thing. But I think in my first year we had and again this was doing Spanish and linguistics, so it might be different for English or straight history. But I would have about 6 lectures a week, so 6 hours, and then I'd have about 6 to 7 hours worth of face-to-face tutorials or classes. And then the rest of the time was kind of just for independent reading and study. And as Stuart was saying, I kind of had quite when I say strict work schedule, like I wouldn't work past like 4 p.m. each day, so you can kind of balance it all out and everything. But yeah, and also weeks differ within different terms as well. Like you could have a term when you're doing 2 modules, a term when you're doing 1 module. So therefore, in that first term, you might have 2 essays a week, and the other one you might have 1 essay a week. It really does depend. But if you speak to your tutors, especially after your first year, they're able to kind of help you spread out the load a bit more.
Lovely, thank you very much. Right. Oh, just a quick correction on the living out thing that we spoke about before. You can't live out in your first year. In first year, you do have to live in the college, which is, I think, most people are very, everybody's pretty happy to do that. How is the common room or any other shared space? So if you could talk, Maya spoke a bit about the fact that the JCR and the which is the common room and the bar and the games room are all interlinked. So if you could elaborate a bit on that and what the bar is like, or Stuart, whoever wants to talk, or Ollie, whoever wants to talk about it.
In terms of the bar bar's one of the best in Oxford, and that's not just me saying that. Other people have said that. It's open 6 days a week. It's run by a very nice man called Furhat, who gets on with all the students. It's always busy in comparison. There are some colleges that rarely ever use their bar, I've heard, whereas ours is always like, Monday to Thursday, kind of like a nice lively atmosphere, and Friday and Saturday, like it's quite full. The the common room has got like a TV. It's right behind the bar or in front of the bar, depending on which way you're looking. So that's got like a TV, so people have been watching the Euros. In the past, people watched Love Island, or you can kind of take control of what you want. It's also where they hold the student body council meetings, like Ollie was saying, the JCR committee meetings on Sundays, which is where there's pizza. And then there's a games room, which hopefully this will be coming back when restrictions go, but there's like darts boards, pool tables, a football table thing. So yeah, and then we've also now got a marquee outside to extend the bar space. So it's kind of, you can sit there for a drink, but it's also like during the day when the bar's not shut, you can sit there and do a bit of work or like meet with other people and stuff. You don't want to have them in your room.
And I think we'll ask one quick more question if people have still got time, which is, how has COVID affected university life this year? Quite dramatically, I think, but kind of people have kind of managed, I think, just about. If anybody wants to answer that very quickly, what sort of stuff has the university been doing to kind of mitigate the impact, that type of thing?
Yeah, so it has been very difficult generally, and I think that people have also had very different experiences depending on their personal situations and how they've been impacted with COVID. So, and then how that intersects with university life has again been very different for different people. Generally, exams they've tried to make provisions in some cases, going open book, for example, and having things online, or changing the format of different things. And for some people, I think that's really helped, and for others, it's not been quite enough, depending on their situation. In terms of Cat's life, I think that a lot of people have really made a good effort to provide alternative provisions for things online. You know, having student council, our JCR committee, we've had our meetings online and ran all of our new sort of elections for those posts online. Yeah, and I think because of people using things over the internet, we've been able to sort of retain that sense of community at CATS. And again, from my position as a welfare rep, like, we've been trying to tell people of the kind of support they can access remotely, and so that's not gone away either. Yeah, it's been a bit of a rubbish time, but like I say, the CAT spirit sort of it's held throughout, and I think a lot of people have been there to support their friends through it. So yeah, and I think there is generally a feeling of hope.
And I think it's safe to say that if we've got any prospective applicants listening now, that by the time you're here in a year and a bit's time, then COVID will be a thing of the past, at least touch wood. Yeah, it will be, because I think everybody, including you guys all at school or at work or whatever, are kind of fed up a little by now, as we all are. And on that, sorry, but hopeful for the future note, I think we're going to draw the discussion to a close. Thank you so much to Ollie, Stuart and Maya for joining us, for giving their wonderful insights into what life at the college is like. If anybody's got any questions that I either haven't addressed or want to answer in the future, email us admissions@stcats.ox.ac.uk, and we'd be really happy to either pass on the questions to one of our student ambassadors or try and have a go at them ourselves. And I guess all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for coming, and have a good summer. Yeah, bye everyone.